Hey guys, what's up? I'm Erin and welcome back to the channel. Confidence is hugely important when we take on challenges. When we feel confident, we often feel like we're capable of anything. You get the general attitude of, I've got this, which honestly feels great. Perhaps you've heard of the confidence-competence feedback loop, which the general premise is that as you learn about a subject or a task or whatever it is, you become more confident. As your competence grows, so too does your confidence. And this makes a lot of sense. How confident do you feel about doing your job? Well, your answer is probably going to depend on when you started this job. If you've been in the field for, say, over a decade, you probably feel pretty confident that you can handle pretty much anything that comes your way. Perhaps you're even an expert in your field. But what if we could rewind that clock? What if I took you back to your very first day on the job? You don't know how to use the company software yet. Heck, you don't even know where the bathroom is. How confident do you feel in your position now? Probably less confident than before. The longer you've been at it, the more opportunities you've had to gain experience and knowledge, the greater competence you have, and thus the greater confidence you have. And this really applies to all areas of life. Now, when we consider that 73% of Americans rank finance as their number one stressor, perhaps we can look at this as an opportunity to increase confidence in this area. Because as you become more skilled, more knowledgeable, or more competent in a field, the less likely you are to be stressed about it. You're more likely to adopt that attitude of, I've got this. Sometimes it can feel like there's just so much to know about different money matters that it can feel really overwhelming. And if there's too much happening, sometimes we just put blinders on and we just don't want to deal with it. And we try the ignore it and it will go away method and see if that will take care of it. That method doesn't usually resolve too many issues. What usually does work is rolling up your sleeves and facing the matters head on. So if you want to increase your confidence when it comes to finances, there are 4 areas that you have to focus on. Tackle these 4 areas and you are golden. Stop living paycheck to paycheck. Living paycheck to paycheck is inherently going to wreak havoc on your finances and your mental fortitude. And depending on the survey you look at, it could say that anywhere from 50 to 60% of people are living paycheck to paycheck, including a surprising number of 6-figure high-income earners. And when you're living paycheck to paycheck, when your expenses have expanded to claim every bit of your paycheck, it's impossible to get ahead with your finances. You can't focus on building a brighter financial future. Rather, you focus on how tight things feel, just hoping you can get through the next 2-week pay cycle to get that next paycheck, hoping that no unexpected emergencies pop up. This keeps you in a really vulnerable position because hoping expenses don't pop up is not a solid plan. It keeps you walking on eggshells because in life, eventually an unexpected expense will pop up. You'll need a repair, you'll need a plumber, some line item that was not in the budget or not prepared for will come up. And if you don't have any breathing room in your budget, this can quickly have you turning to debt, forcing you to rely on credit cards, which have incredibly high interest rates if you're not able to pay them off every single month, or you have to turn to family or friends to borrow money, and that can quickly strain a relationship. So the number one thing you have to do is get some wiggle room in your budget. This could be from cutting expenses or finding ways to boost your income or a combination of the two. I'm honestly more of a fan of finding ways to boost your income because there's no limit on the income that you can earn, but there is a limit to the number of ways we can cut our expenses. Have an emergency fund. I don't say this lightly, but having an emergency fund can change your life. And that is not an exaggeration. Just like with the previous paycheck to paycheck situation, where you kind of go through life with the attitude of, I hope nothing bad happens. If you don't have any sort of short-term cash reserves or any sort of emergency fund, you kind of have that same mentality. The general guideline for emergency funds is that you should have anywhere from 3 to 6 months worth of expenses at the ready for most workers. Could be up to 9 months or a year's worth if you're a freelancer with an unpredictable paycheck or a recent retiree. And that can feel like a heck of a lot of cash sitting on the sidelines. But the good news is, for the first time in over a decade, you can actually get a decent return on your cash when it's sitting in a a high yield savings account, a CD, or even T-bills. So at least you can feel like you're earning a somewhat decent return on these funds. Yes, I do have some videos on these accounts and I will link them down below. I often refer to the pillow test when it comes to finances. And what I mean by this is you should be making decisions and handling your finances in a way that allows you to sleep soundly at night. And having an emergency fund is one of the best ways to guarantee yourself a good night's sleep. And we can all use a good night's sleep because we are in a war on wrinkles. And as I hone in on 40, it is getting harder and harder, but I am determined to win. The peace of mind that comes knowing that your family is okay, should someone be laid off or otherwise just be without a paycheck for an extended period of time, is a weight off your shoulders. It's kind of like your own personal insurance policy. It's nice to know it's there and you hope you never have to use it. Personally, I tend to keep about a 6-month emergency fund on hand. I don't want my husband or I to be without work for that length of time, but it's nice to know it's there. It's the same reason you would have life insurance. You don't want to pass away and leave your family prematurely, but in the unlikely event that something happens, you want to know that your family is taken care of. Knowing that that emergency fund is there allows you to breathe easy. You can be like, I know my bases are covered. I'm ready to work on other areas of my financial life. Maybe you can go after other financial goals like work towards buying your first home or just simply work towards building wealth. Or maybe you can just plan on doing something fun with your money like taking a vacation. Remember, money's just a tool that you should use to build the life of your dreams. Have a financial strategy in place. This one has to be broken down into 2 parts. A short-term financial strategy, aka a budget, and a long-term financial strategy. Your long-term goals, perhaps retirement plans or generational wealth, things like that. Following that short-term plan, your budget should keep you on track to hitting your long-term goals. All of our big goals should be easily broken down into several smaller chunks, each necessary steps before hitting that lofty goal. And when you talk to people about their long-term money goals, a lot of people have the goal of hitting a 7-figure status, to become a millionaire, which is a fine goal, but breaking it down into parts makes it more achievable. It makes success more likely. How much do you have to save every single month to accomplish this? When do you want to hit your first 100,000? When do you want to hit 500,000? Can you do this at your current income level, or do you have to level up your earnings? If so, do you have a plan to do that? Or what about so many of us have the goal to hit financial freedom? But what does that look like? Actually take the time to sit down and figure out what that number is for you, because it's going to be different for everyone. Rather than saving 10% of your paycheck because that's what somebody at some point told you to do, figure out what your number is and figure out when you want to achieve it by. Then you can figure out how much you need to set aside every single month in order to hit that goal. Knowing your why is incredibly powerful. It allows you to drive towards your goals with intention and purpose, and that can give you a great sense of confidence. There's a big difference between saying, I'm saving 10% of my paycheck, and someone saying, I'm investing $554 every single month into an S&P tracking fund with the goal of hitting financial freedom in 36 years. My goal number, 1.4 million. Oh, and I'm also going to focus on increasing my investment contributions 2% every single year. Who do you think is more likely to hit their goal? And also keep in mind that plans change. Just because you write something down, it's not set in stone. You can always go back and make revisions. Over the years, you are going to change. Your goals are going to change. So you can always come back and adjust your plan. But don't be afraid to write down your plan as it stands today. Successfully manage debt. According to Experian, less than 25% of American households are debt-free. So clearly having some level of debt is normalized in our culture. Whether that's a mortgage, auto loan, student loan, revolving credit card debt, or personal loans, most Americans have some level of debt. Now, all debt types are not created equal. There's good debt and there's bad debt. And I'm not fully anti-debt, but I really don't like a lot of debt. I'm fine with a mortgage, and that's pretty much it. When it comes to a car, I'd rather just buy one that's within my means. When it comes to student loans, I didn't really have a degree that would warrant any sort of student loans. I have a degree in business, a degree in finance, and a degree in nutrition. With scholarships and working through college, I was able to graduate completely debt-free. That's not always the option if you say go to law school or if you go to medical school. The fact remains that most Americans are going to have some type of debt beyond their mortgage. The more debt types you have, the bigger your debt burden, the bigger slice of your paycheck that goes to pay the creditors, the less of your paycheck that is left over for you to work with. That keeps you on the hamster wheel working to pay other people and not pay yourself. Which is why no matter who you are, no matter what field you're in, no matter what your income is, you want to keep your debt burden low relative to your income level. Otherwise, it just feels like you're spinning your wheels, not getting anywhere. Boosting your confidence with money means you're actively working on your finances. You're actively working on improving your financial situation. And as you actively work on your finances, you're inevitably going to improve with your competence. You're going to make better money moves. You want unshakable confidence when it comes to your finances? Build some breathing room into your paycheck. Make sure you have an emergency fund, that you have that financial safety net. Have a plan of where you're going and how you're going to get there. That gives you clear direction. And keep your debts low, because that means the money that comes in is yours to keep. Do you feel confident about managing your finances? If so, when did you start feeling confident? And what were those key factors that got you there? Or what are you currently doing to feel more confident with your money? Let me know your answer in a comment down below. I post new videos every single week. If you got anything at all out of this one, please give it a like. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. Or if you know of someone who might get something out of this type of content, please consider sharing. I'll see you soon. Bye.